Alright, welcome back. Okay, this is going to be part 4. And before we start, what I want to do is explain something. For everyone who has followed my videos from day 1, you will see that I have changed my impression of this dwarf star since the beginning of my videos. In the beginning, I believed that the dwarf star Nibiru event was actually out there in our space like they are telling us, or some of them are telling us it is right now. Well, I now understand through further study and investigation that the Nibiru, aka dwarf star, is some 1,000 years off in all probability. Now, even if it wasn't, it would not be causing the catastrophes that they are making it look like are being caused by this dwarf star event right now. And the reason being that it's passed us some hundreds and hundreds of thousands of time. Now, in my investigation in the geologic record, I found evidence for a pole shift in 14,000 BC. Now, that's a long ways ago, about 16,000 years ago. So, it does from time to time cause an epic catastrophe, but the times of total catastrophes and absolute death of all life, that really has never happened. And if anything, it was closer to the further distant past, in which this is recording. So let's look into this a little further. Right now it says, "And I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void." Now that is going to be the second line. And the earth was without form and void. Now that immediately takes place after the insertion of this line here, which says, "Earth made waste and empty by judgment." So what you can see is that the earth is experiencing the passage of the dwarf star at this moment here. Further explaining, "And I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled, and the hills moved lightly." Once again, not a complete and all-out catastrophe. Now, here we go. "And I beheld, and lo, there was no man, and all the birds of heaven were fled. And I beheld, and lo, the fruitful place was a wilderness, and all the cities thereof were broken down at the presence of the Lord, and by his fierce anger." Right here, this is Mars. These first two lines are Earth. This is Mars. "And I beheld, and lo, there was no man, and all the birds of heaven were fled." Now I want you to relate birds of heaven directly to the wheel of Ezekiel, which is being described as having wings, and as we have described it even further with the beryllium, relating it to spacecraft, now you have to understand that all the birds of heaven meant all the birds of space. Because heaven, this is the second heaven, which is referred to as space. Now you can check your concordance for that, but that's what this translates to. All the birds of space, or all the spacecrafts were fled. Check me on that. And then it says, "And I beheld, and lo, the fruitful place was a wilderness." Now this could not be, if it's a fruitful place, it could not be the earth, because then it says, "And I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void." Obviously not this fruitful place. Obviously the earth did not have cities on it. "And all the cities thereof were broken down at the presence of the Lord, and by his fierce anger." Verse 23 distinguishes this fruitful place of verse 26 from earth, which was without form and void. Verse 24, Nibiru's passage, earthquakes. Boom. Now, why is this Mars? I want you to Google the Cydonia region, which is on Mars, which is where there are pyramids and ruins of cities. Notice that the ruins are of ancient times, which is this passage, which gives further proof that this is Mars, and that those are those cities on Mars, and that these very same beings who came down to Ezekiel in the Bible, these birds of space, or these spacecraft, are the same beings responsible for these cities on Mars that have been destroyed. Remember, the earth is covered in ice at this time. "And I beheld the earth, and lo, is without form and void." Mars is not. They are waiting on Mars till they can come here. Thank you for listening.